If you're at all familiar with Bethesda Game Studios, the developers behind the Elder Scrolls and recent Fallout games, you probably already know that their games have come to be known far and wide for their mods. Before we continue, let's look at what exactly a mod is. Wikipedia's entry for mod defines the term in this way. A mod, short for modification, is an alteration by players or fans of a video game that changes some aspects or one aspect of a video game, such as how it looks or behaves. Mods may range from small changes and tweaks to complete overhauls, and can extend the replay value and interest of the game. Also, I just want to say that best is a bit of a loose term. When I say best, I mean that Bethesda games are generally known for having a wide breadth of high-quality mods available, even if you can break your game if you go a little too wild. Now, don't get me wrong, there are certainly other games, many other games, that are moddable and have a good selection to pick from. But as it stands, none of them have come close to matching the sheer amount of content available for Bethesda games. If we look at Nexus Mods, the largest distributor of game mods, we see that the number available for other games is completely dwarfed by the number up for Bethesda titles. There are numerous reasons for why exactly we see such a robust mod community and so many amazing mods for games made by Bethesda, but in my view, the big three are developer support, accessibility, and a long-standing modding community. I call these the three pillars of modding. Bethesda as a company is uniquely situated atop all three of these pillars, and it gives them a massive edge when it comes to how many people create mods for their games. Any one of these points is important when it comes to both the quantity and the quality of mods that you'll see released for a game, but it's when all three come together that we see a true explosion of mods. It all begins with developer support. Over the years, I've seen some people struggle to understand why some games, especially PC games, can't be modded while others can. And it's a fair question. For the layman who doesn't know about what goes into modifying a game, it's totally normal to be confused by this. The fast and simple explanation is that some games are built to be mod-friendly, and others just aren't. Most games are closed off and ship compiled, because they're not meant to be tampered with. Decompiling or otherwise breaking into these games is very difficult. With some time and effort, it's still possible to hack them and do some cool things, but the type of mods that you'll see for them are generally limited in scope, like texture or model swaps, and nothing really resembling new content. Bethesda takes mod support very seriously, and builds their games from the ground up to integrate user-generated content. For things like texture swaps, all you need to do is drop the new file into the right spot in a folder. For mods that add or edit content, those changes are saved in a plugin file that the game is able to read in the same way that it reads a new official DLC. For the creation of these plugins, Bethesda releases their own internal toolkit along with their games, the construction set, the GEC, or the creation kit. These tools are, believe it or not, the same tools that Bethesda themselves uses to develop content for their games. Every dungeon, every gun or skill, every mud crab or annoying boss was made, art notwithstanding, using these tools. It doesn't give you source level access like the developers have, but almost anything that you can imagine within the confines of the game can be created or edited here. The creation kit uses a record-based system that is both elegant and effective, and is one of the key reasons why you can install 200 different mods for Skyrim that are all compatible with one another. To make a long story short, every in-game object, be it an enemy, a perk, a sound, a light, everything is represented by a single record. Each type of record has different parameters that can be changed. As long as two mods don't edit the same record, they are natively compatible with each other out of the box. For example, this means that two different armor mods, each adding a new outfit, will always be compatible with each other. They both create new records for their armor and don't edit the same things. Every Bethesda game is built on these records, and the creation kit is essentially a tool that lets you create new records or edit existing ones. This will be important when we get to the accessibility section, so keep it in mind. Bethesda themselves have a really great GDC talk out there called How Modding Made Bethesda Better. It talks about why they go to such lengths to provide mod support and the concrete impacts that it has on their games in terms of everything from design to replay value and even their own reputation as a company that supports mods. I'm definitely going to link to this in the description of the video because the whole thing gives a great insight into just how much value they place in user-generated content and why they go to such lengths to foster it. The second factor is accessibility. One thing that sets Bethesda games apart from other moddable games is the extreme level of accessibility when it comes to modding them. Making mods takes time and effort, but the nature of the tools available makes the workflow more of a series of many simple tasks rather than fewer large and daunting ones. To demonstrate my point, we can compare the creation kit to the mod tools for XCOM 2. XCOM 2 has an extremely robust toolkit, and basically anything that you dream of can be done. We've seen many incredible mods come out of the XCOM community that really push the boundaries of the game. But with XCOM and other Firaxis titles like Civilization, modding requires directly editing lines of code in order to do what you need to do, even for relatively simple mods. This may sound strange, but it's effectively a huge barrier of entry that turns many prospective mod authors away. People who don't know coding or even just how to tweak parameters of the game with simple text edits can feel intimidated by the process. They might see something like this and think, well, I guess modding isn't really for me. And this is where Bethesda's tools come in. While there is a proprietary scripting language called Papyrus, there's an absolute ton of changes that you can make to the game without ever touching a text editor. Remember the records that I mentioned previously? Bethesda's kit is designed part and parcel to edit these records in the most streamlined way possible. Instead of having to edit code in order to change a given record, you can simply click the record in the kit in order to bring up that object's menu. Every different record type has its own unique window, with options made specifically for editing that type of object. You don't get the same menu when you click a weapon that you do when you edit a perk. To change an armor from light to heavy, you don't need to edit any lines of text. You just open the item and select heavy armor in the corresponding dropdown. To create a spell, you don't need to copy any scripts with complicated syntax, you just need to throw some magic effects in and select their magnitude. To make an enemy stronger, you don't need to look over a list of all its stats written out as text. You can just open up the stats tab and change the health from 40 to 80. You can think of the creation kit as a specialty tool designed for the express purpose of making editing records as accessible as possible. And this level of accessibility is a huge contributor to why exactly there are so many people making mods for Bethesda games. The easier it is for people to get into, the more you'll see. All it takes for somebody to start modding Skyrim is opening up the kit, finding the item that they want to edit, and then changing some numbers or picking different options from a drop-down menu. Then you just save your file and you've made your first mod. Maybe next time you make a new item instead of editing one that's already there. You learn a little at a time until you're ready to make your larger ideas a reality. On top of all of that, any experience you have in modding one Bethesda game transfers to the others. The kits for each game have differences here and there, but it's all the same workflow. If you know how to make mods for Skyrim, you'll know how to make them for Fallout 4. The idea that anybody can be a mod author is a huge boon to Bethesda games. Complicated mods are still a lot of work, but between Bethesda's own wiki and community-made resources, the kit functions as a series of stepping stones that lets people learn at their own pace. It also lets people learn parts of the kit individually instead of having to learn everything in order to put out a mod. For example, one mod author might be talented at making new spells or perks without having any idea how to make quests. And that's a good thing, because it enables people to focus in on the exact type of mod that they want to make, whether it's large or small. From there, they can expand as necessary, learning each part of the kit as they go. The kits also continue to evolve with each game as Bethesda improves their tools. Each time Bethesda makes a change in order to improve their own workflow, that benefits mod authors. It's not without its hiccups, and it can be buggy. But at the end of the day, it's one of the most robust tools available for mod creators of any game, while simultaneously being one of the most accessible. Something else that cannot be ignored is the large and devoted following that Bethesda games have when it comes to their modding communities. It started way back in 2002 when the original construction set was released alongside Morrowind, and has only continued to grow from there. Because the community continues to grow, there's an automatic base of knowledgeable mod authors ready to go the second a new Bethesda game comes out. Each time they make something new, their experience grows and their work gets better and better. After 16 years of people coming and going, sharing what they know with the community, the bar of what's possible to see in a mod continues to go higher and higher. And what's more is that the community is able to make modding even more accessible to everybody. Not just to the people who make mods, but to the people who use them as well. Tools like Rybash, Xedit, Loot, all the various mod managers, and every other utility that's been created by the community go a long way toward making the process even easier. Each tool is a hammer for a specific nail, and fills in a gap to make something or another faster or more convenient in some way. But a community is more than just the people who make mods, it's also the people who use them. And there's a huge number of people who use mods for Bethesda games. People who already know about mods and already know that they want to use them long before a new game even comes out. And it's something that people are clearly interested in. On YouTube alone, mod-focused channels boast millions of subscribers between them, and mod videos easily pull in hundreds of thousands of views. Skyrim is going on 7 years old, and people are still interested enough to watch these videos and get any scrap of knowledge about new and interesting mods that they can play. This public interest means that there's a never-ending supply of people who want mods for these games, and the important thing to know is that virtually every mod author starts out as a mod user. The more users there are, the more authors there will be. The more authors there are, the more mods we'll release for everybody. When you combine these three pillars, developer support, accessibility, and community, you get the recipe for a huge modding community. Official support means that people don't need to perform complicated hacks or workarounds to mod your game. Accessibility means that almost anybody can pick up modding and learn the ropes. And the community means that there's a constant supply and demand for high quality work. And again, there are definitely other games with amazing mod communities out there, but the reason why Bethesda mods are so much more prolific is that they've almost become a self-fulfilling prophecy. Everybody already knows that Bethesda games have great mods, so lots of people buy the game and play those mods. Then more people learn to make great mods, which further cements their reputation, and the cycle repeats from there. I've been a member of the Bethesda mod communities for a long time now, and the question I see from people time and time again is, what sets Bethesda games apart? Why did they get so many mods? It's a phenomenon on a scale that we just don't see from other games, and I've given a lot of consideration to why that is. I hope this video has helped you to understand some of the major reasons, at least as I see them. And the good news is that this is a goal that other development studios can strive for. I think most everybody agrees that mod communities have a huge positive impact on any given game. They're a chance for people to add all kinds of new things to beloved games, to change things they don't like, and even just to express themselves. Mods are a tool that give the end user a wide degree of freedom in defining their own experience. If more companies tried their best to embrace the three pillars, many more games could have just as many mods as we see for Skyrim and Fallout. And well, I think that would be pretty great. Thanks for watching, everybody. Don't forget to subscribe and share the video if you liked it. I also want to give a big thanks to everybody who's been tuning in. Because of you guys, I've officially become a YouTube partner. I'm really happy with the progress that the channel's made, and I really appreciate all the support and the kind words. Until next time.